Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We've been working on this Sega Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein pinball machine, just in time for Halloween. If you didn't know, it's coming right around the corner. And in the past, we did a long series of videos on a two Dracula pinball machines that we repaired. And way back even before that, we did an even longer series of videos on a Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy pinball machine that we repaired. So here we are working on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. We've already done a couple videos on it. If you didn't see those, go back and check them out. We had a gentleman sell us this game. He asked us if we wanted to buy a game. We said, sure. And he said, well, I've taken it all apart. And I was like, oh, man. He's like, yeah, I took it all apart, but I took pictures and stuff. And when people do that, they always lose stuff, you know, so there's going to be screws missing and stuff, you think. And so I don't know if I want it. And then I said, well, what game is it? And he said, it's Frankenstein. And so I thought, so I'm supposed to put all the little pieces of Frankenstein back together. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll take my money. So we are at the point where we're putting it back together. We've had this thing for years, though. So in the first video, we kind of just looked through everything to see what kind of condition it was in, and fixed up a problem that the transformer had. This is an import game. It was from Belgium, or it was shipped to Belgium originally, and now we're making it work in the United States. And then on the last video, we worked on the power supply a little bit, and we repaired the dot matrix display, and very successfully. So I was really happy with that. So if you didn't go see that, that was a really cool video. So this video, I guess we're up to probably messing with the Playfield, or let's see what's left in the back box. It seems like everything's working. It's still got all the original boards in it. The power supply we've rebuilt. The display we've repaired. We don't know what's going on with the other stuff. Now, we're to the point where we could go ahead and test all the switches and test all of the lights and test all of the solenoids and everything. But the problem that we have is the Playfield is pretty much, you know, the whole top of it is like 80–90% disassembled. So we can't test everything because a lot of it's not even installed on the game. So it's kind of time to start putting the Playfield back together. And I'd kind of like to do that early in the process anyways, just to see if we need to order any parts. If we need to order any parts, it'd be nice to get them coming so that it doesn't slow me down here. It kind of looks like all of the lamps are working that are under the Playfield. Let me see. Do I see any that are burnt out? You folks always find the burnt out ones for me. Looks like they're all working. So I guess maybe that's it. I guess we're going to work the Playfield. Maybe that's next. Maybe that's what this video will be. It'll probably take a couple videos just because the thing is so complex and we really don't know where everything goes. So the first thing that I think I'm going to do is turn it off and wax it. The gentleman cleaned it all up. We actually have some pictures here that I could show you of how it was when he took it apart. He was careful to take pictures of every little part as he went. And those pictures show a Playfield that's very, very dirty and has a lot of issues. I'm trying to get the Cliffies that go on here and here. If you're not familiar with Cliffies, there's a company. It started out with being a guy called Cliffy who makes little protectors that go around scoops. Because what happens inevitably on these games is after they get thousands and thousands of play, the ball starts wearing the paint away. So he makes little metal rims that go around these. And they're custom made for each game, right? So we're trying to order the set that goes on this so that we can go ahead and install them as we're putting the Playfield back together. And it'll hide that wear and keep it from wearing anymore. So we're trying to get that. But let me show you these pictures that we've got that the gentleman took of it as he took it apart. And then we'll try to do them in reverse order, I guess, and put them all back together. So this guy gave me something kind of strange. It's these printouts of pictures that he took. So I guess these are digital photos that he took, and then he had them printed out somehow on a big old sheet of like photo paper. And so it kind of shows each little part. So there's 105, and then there's 106. He's just showing exactly how everything's set up. 107, I guess he's showing it with that removed now. 108, and they all seem to be in order. 109, 110, 111. So he goes through and he's showing every little picture that he, as he takes everything apart. So, you know, after that, you move on to this, and then, you know, you just go through the rest of it. And if, you know, it's got plenty of pictures, and then after that, of course, you got these, and then you've got, you know, and they keep going, and eventually, you know, we should be able to put the whole playfield back together. So I guess maybe we start at this end and go that way. I don't see, he started over there. So if we're putting it back together, we would start that's the last one. So we would start there and work backwards, and you know, just keep on, you know. So that's my plan, and we should be done by Halloween. Okay, folks, so I waxed it and then buffed the wax a little bit and then replaced all of the GI bulbs, and it has made a big difference already. It's starting to look pretty good for a dark themed horror game. It already looks better. Now the bulbs underneath we haven't done yet. I think this jackpot one's not working. It might be a flasher or something though. But we haven't replaced any of those yet. Those were the ones that the gentleman already had in there. He cleaned the playfield up though already, and he did a really good job. There's a little bit of wear at this scoop and a little bit of wear at that scoop. We've ordered the replacement or the little protectors for it. They should be in pretty soon, and we'll put them on whenever we get there. So the way I'm planning on doing this is, I don't like how up here some of this these ball rails, basically there are little pins that hold them in. So there's a pin that holds this in right here. So there's a nut on the bottom of the playfield. That's why he wasn't able to take this off. He removed the screws from it, but he wasn't able to take that off. So I would kind of like to replace them first, so that they don't just flop around and scratch up the playfield. See, that one's loose too. So I think I'm going to look through the pictures real quick and see if I can find the place where, I don't know that I can do that. I don't know when the guy took the screws out, but I know what the screws look like. I hate to take them out of one of the bags. The whole thing is he's got all these little bags that are numbered. Like this is bag number 58. Well, that's probably the screws that we need for those rails, but I hate to take them out of here and then we need them on something else. I would assume that he numbered the bags in order. So number 80 is about the highest thing I've seen in there. That was one of the last things he did probably, was take whatever this ball rail off is, but for whatever reason the 3 screws aren't with it, so I don't know. So I have a little chart here where the guy drew pictures with numbers on it. It's kind of hard for me to tell what's what. I think these are the slingshot area. Those look like the little ball guides, you know, but I don't know. Also, this says Geneva, which is a thing that's over on the right. So I don't... Skull, I think it says. Or skill. Maybe that says skill. Ooh, maybe that's the skill shot. And then it says Mary Shelley over here. I don't know. This is pretty clear. It says head and body. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how he started taking it apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But that's probably the stuff on the top of the playfield. They probably just started taking off the very first stuff, like the ramp, you know. And so then once he took that off, he moved on to this, it appears. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And that's clearly the ramp thing that was in the back. So maybe that's the bottom row. Right, so after he did that, he seems to have moved on to this. 18, 19, 20, blah, 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 blah. Right, and so I can kind of tell, and it looks like he's writing numbers for the bag that he used. So then he gets up to 43, 44, 45, blah, 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 59. So 57, 58, 59 maybe. And he's kind of drawing the screws and stuff. It's just crazy. It's insane. He was a mad doctor, apparently. I don't know why he took the creature apart, though. But I also have a bunch of pictures, so that's the whole secret to the thing. The reason I'm going to be able to put it together is because of the pictures. So he took a bunch of digital pictures and then printed them out on photo paper. And I've got tons of them. Right? And so the last pictures are here. And he has a little marker drawn through them for some reason. So maybe he already put this part back. I don't know. So these are all in reverse order as he took the thing apart. And so he's showing every little thing, right? And he'll do a picture and then show it with the thing removed. So for instance, we have this picture, and the preceding picture shows the 2 posts in there. So he removed those 2 posts from the playfield and then took a picture of them in and removed. And he did this all the way through. So here's one of the outlanes, and then here it is with the post removed. Here's the kicker, and then here it is with the post behind the kicker removed. So he took pictures of every little thing as he went along. So if I just go backwards and put it back together, it should go back together, right? That's what we're acting on, at least. But what I want to do is go back through until I find when he took these screws out, so that I can put those back in right now, because I don't like how they're flopping around all over the playfield. They're going to scratch something up. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Okay, so that gave us the ball arch back at the top of the playfield, all the way down to the flipper, actually. So very cool. I went ahead and put the flash bulbs in too before we get too deep into it, where there's a bunch of stuff in the way where we won't be able to replace them. So yeah, that one mounted up perfect, and number 5's done. Let's see if I can figure out some more of the screws. I want to find these, and some of these, and these. So I'm just working through them in order of the number, right? So number 11, it looks like this is the back diverter that goes at the back of the machine. And then 11 is drawn to the left of the playfield a little bit. I don't know. So it's a bag with 6 screws in it. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws missing from that piece. And on the pictures, there are all those little red screws. So I guess that's number 11. All right, so I've just been going through them in order. Bag number 11, bag number 12, and I'm figuring out. So this is 23 is one of the pop bumpers, and etc., etc., etc. And then I get to bag number 28, which is 3 red screws. and it puts it right here to the right of the pop bumpers. It's kind of crazy, right? But it's over here on the right side of the playfield, and we're up near the top. I think this is the monster or something, or the creation or something. So 28, 3 red screws, and there's 3 red screws missing right there. So we're going to say that's it. Let's go for it. Okay, remember I didn't make this map. So this is 39, which is 4 screws. It's drawn over here on the left side. There's nothing over here that really needs screws unless was something on the ramp, but I don't think so. There is 1 there, but there's 4 here. This one, there's 1 here too, but there's some kind of bracket that goes there. I saw it earlier. So I think that's it, even though it's down too far. Okay, and then we've got this, which is 30, which is a metal guide with 2 screws right next to each other. And I have it drawn up kind of on the right. Well, if you look, there's something here, it looks like. So maybe it goes there. The screws are kind of right next to each other, though. I'll have to look at the pictures and see if I can see where that little bracket was. Okay, moving right along with the ball rails, I've pulled out several that I think I can tell where they go, but this one is in an unmarked bag, and it has 3 screws for the 3 holes, and it appears to be our missing one from up here. The holes line up, so I'm going to clean that up and install that. Alright, so for a while it appears he was taking all the screws that go places and putting them in this box sorted. But for a little bit he did these 2 little things. So this has 2 screw holes in it and is a little flat bar. And this has 3 screw holes in it and is also a little flat bar. So I think I figured out where those go. Okay, so it's pretty obvious that they mount behind the targets. It's some kind of little thing, I guess, so the ball can't get stuck if it hits right between those 2 big wide targets. And since there was 3 in an L shape, it's obvious that one went there. And then the other one goes over here and mounts kind of diagonally, and it does the same thing. So those were obvious. I've still got several here that I'm not 100% yet, so I haven't put them in yet. Interesting one here. 53 is drawn as 3 screws, and I thought, what in the world has 3 screws? And if you look, there's some kind of little bracket looking, this little thing drawn, and I'll be damned if that doesn't take 3 screws and it's shaped just like what they drew. So this guy's rhyme or reason doesn't really, I mean, it makes sense eventually, but it's one of those things where if you didn't do it, it doesn't make any sense. So I see the screws for this one, but I don't see the screws for this one. So I don't. It looks like he drew it, maybe. That might. Yeah. See, look, this goes around and then up. Well, what is it? Is it 51, maybe? It needs 4 screws. I don't know, but I think we know 53 is that one. So we'll clean this up and install this one. Alright, so we have bag 58, and if you look, there are 3 silver screws that are slightly smaller than those red ones that we've been using. And then there are 4 red screws. Okay, so that's 58, and if you look on this little list, he has this drawn over here. He's got the screws drawn in. I guess he thought that would help. And then there is this thing drawn next to it that curves. Right? So I have this, and if you look at the pictures, there are 3 silver screws, and then up here at the top there would have been 2 red ones that hold it in, and then you've got those 2 red ones there. I don't know where the other 2 red ones go, but those were with that one, so it looks like maybe though there was something there. So maybe there's 2 red ones that go there for something. So maybe they just took all the ones that were on this side left and put them in a bag. I'm not sure. So I got that one mounted in. And then if I look at the pictures that he took, the next thing that he did was he took this one off this side. And the two silver screws that are in bag 44 appear to be that. But there is a red screw there that holds this in that is not in bag 44. But there's extra ones in this bag, so I just took the one off of that bag since it was the next thing he did. I guess he got them confused, or maybe I'm confused, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're down to just a couple places that need a screw. You've got bag 39, which has 4 screws in it, and it's, you know, this is like the stuff up there, but 39 is drawn down on the left, and this thing needs 4 screws. Also, they're all very red instead of faded. Am I lying? I think they're all very red. And the ones that are hidden under light shields are like that, so I'm assuming that these go there. And that leaves us with 27, which has 6 screws in it. And we still haven't got this, but it needs 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a 5th one there, and then there's a 6th one there. I don't know. Maybe we didn't put them in the right place, but we got the right number of them, it seems like. There's still a couple around, but we'll do that. All right, so I got those installed. And this. And the 2 up here that I was talking about earlier, I looked, and that's for the spinner, one of the spinners. And it has the 2 screws in the bag with it. So I've got a couple extra ones, which is good. You want to come up with extra instead of short, right? Maybe some stuff goes here or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go along. Actually, they may go there. There's a plastic, I think, that comes here, and they may screw there. But I think that's a pretty good start of putting all of the ball rails back. Obviously, that's something that needs to be done first, and they can't scratch up the playfield now. So I think we can start with the pictures, just starting with the latest one and working backwards, trying to put it all back together. But at least we've got the rails all back on there, and apparently the screws where they go, or hopefully. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Okay, so I'm doing as planned and going through backwards. And I got down to here, and this is our first thing that was different. So in the box there was the little post, and I just installed it back. So after I'm doing it, whoever made this had already started marking these out for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe he had started putting it back together and marked out what he had done, but he hadn't done hardly anything. So now I'm going through and doing what he did. I'm just going to mark out the ones I've done. So if you look, he's got a picture here. We're going backwards with a post missing, and then a picture here with the post there. So it's actually kind of, you know, the dude did a really good job of taking pictures, so I can't complain too much. And he did a good job of cleaning up the playfield. So what can I say? So next post. Okay, so I've been putting those posts back in. And then it was those 2 little bracket things that we already did that go behind the targets. We got that in. I did those before because I was trying to figure out where all the small screws go for the ball rails that we need. And then that's an adjustment over by the shooter lane. It's got what appears to be a long screw, and then this black post that can take a rubber ring. And then if you look here, there's another one. So he's doing the screws with the black posts. There's the left side. And then here's behind the targets on the left. There were 3 of those with 3 screws. And then here's over by one of the pop bumpers. There were 2 of them with 2 screws. And then here's kind of around one of the other pop bumpers. There was one with 1 screw. And I'll be darned if that wasn't exactly how many screws were in that little box. So now it's showing me that there's a lamp somewhere by a guy, looks like walking through a library, and it screws down with 1 little screw. Well, in this box, I had 1 screw left, but I was like, oh wait, that one's red, the other one's not. Nope, that's the one. That's the exact screw that the guy took out of there. So let's see if we can figure out where it's supposed to be. It's up there. It's the guy walking through the library. it looks like, these wires we got to figure out, there's tape on one of them and all that, but it looks like that lays down like that, and that screw holds it in place. Something like that is how it looks on the picture. Kind of interesting. I always thought it was weird how they cover up art and stuff. You know, like they put a bulb right on top of art, but it's kind of how it's made. Yeah, so it lays down right over the guy's face. Now, I'm a big Frankenstein fan, but I have never seen that movie. After I read the book, the original book, I decided, okay, well, let me look at the original Frankenstein movie. And the original Frankenstein movie is actually one that Edison did. It's really old. It's from like 1912 or something like that. And it's just this little short film that they thought was lost for many years, and then they found a copy of it. So I watched that, and then I watched, of course, the big one that there's a couple more, I think, Italian ones that they can't find a copy of from the teens or the 20s. And then in 1931, I guess, is when the big one came out that Universal did. So I watched it, and then Son of Frankenstein, or Bride of Frankenstein, which was a comedy, actually, if you can believe that, from 1932 or 33. It's a freaking comedy. It's pretty funny. And then it goes on and on and on, and they get pretty cheesy after a while. And then you end up where you've got like the Japanese Frankenstein movies, which aren't about a human-looking thing. They're more like a monster. It is a human. It's a regular person that grows real big, right? So it's just all that stuff. Really cool. So anyway, I was trying to watch them all in order just for the hell of it, and I watched about 20 of them, but I never got up to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein that came out in the 90s, which is what this pinball is based on, which was actually a more accurate version of the book than a lot of the other ones. Okay, so moving right along, this appears to be showing a couple things missing, and then we are to our first one that has a actual post on it. So I've got plenty of these little plastic pieces that take a rubber ring, and then you've got posts. I guess they're all the same size. No, there's two different sizes. So there's this type of post, and then there's this type of post, which is much longer. So it appears that's one of the long ones. All right, so it's that spot right there in the pictures. And it's got that big long shaft, so how do you tighten that down? Well, if you are going to be working on a lot of pinball machines, I'll show you how. You can take a wrench and put it right there. That's a 1/4 inch hex. Or you can get one of these. This is a Klein Tools, which is made in the United States, by the way. This is a Klein Tools. See if it says it. I don't know if we can read it. Can we read it? Lots of warnings. Won't protect you against electrical shock. Well, I guess you'll have to, wait a minute. What's this? What do I see here? Made in the USA. Cool little tool. And this will work on that because it has a hollow shaft. So it'll just slide right down over that post. And then you can tighten it up to your little heart's content. And then if we want to make it look just like the picture, we can put the washer back on. So that's that one. Where were we? Where'd I go? Oh, I had it right here. This is kind of fun. This must have been what the good doctor felt like. So same thing. It looks like the guy was smart enough to do them all in order. So there's another one, and there's going to be another one, and there's another one, and it looks like there's only 3 or 4 of them, and then it moves on to the smaller ones. So I'll work through some more of them. So I'm getting posts in all over the playfield. You know, this is the stuff that really, it's hard to tell where this stuff goes. So I'm glad the guy took pictures. And then you get some up here, and when you got those long-handled, hollow shaft Klein tools, you run into problems at the very back of the playfield. So you can pull the playfield out, or you can just get the stubby version, which just works just as well because it's still hollow. Look, it even lights up cool whenever the light shines through it. Look at that. Tells me that it's a 1/4 inch because I've got several different sizes. Hey, if you want to get any of those, go on our website. We've got a link on there. Go to lionsarcade.com, and up at the top we have a parts page where we have a bunch of the parts that we put in, parts and tools that we put in games that are on Amazon. So it's links to Amazon. And so if you click any of those links and buy anything on Amazon, even if it's not this cool little stubby tool, if you buy your own Frankenstein pinball machine or whatever on there, it gives us a tip for whatever you buy. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. Okay, so I'm almost done with the posts, I think. Let me keep going. Okay, so that seems to be every post, and it basically used everything in that little tub. And it all went right back, and I can't find a hole left where something's missing. So I think the guy could have possibly saved every single thing and didn't lose any parts, down to every last screw. It's kind of how it looks. Now, we don't know what goes on the ramps and everything yet, but the next thing that we need to do is the shields. A lot of the light shields are going to go down. But I think we're to the point where we can do a few of the rubber rings because, you know, eventually you're going to be covering those up. So I'm going to put in some of the rubber rings just to make sure we don't end up putting something on top of something that later needs a rubber ring. So the way I'm going to do that, I think the guy's got pictures of all that too, but the way I'm going to do that is to just use the manual. The manual is really good at showing where that stuff goes. I'll show you what I mean. Almost every pinball machine in the manual has something like this. So it says rubber parts, and it's just showing you where everything goes. It's got kind of like a drawing. And then down here it gives you a list. By the time they got to Sega, I don't know if Data East was like this before that, but Sega eventually essentially became Stern. They were really kind of using standard stock stuff that they, you know, tried to develop to use on more than one machine, which is smart. But they even have a thing where, see, it says post rubber sleeve short, and there's a little dash, and then it says quantity 0. Right? So they are actually showing you, look, it says items with a 0 quantity are not used in this game. So why would they even mention it? I guess it's because this is all of the different types of rings that they were going to use in anything. So they just said, hey, here's our 15 rings, rubber parts, and this is how many of each we use in this game. Oh, this one we don't use any in this game. It's just kind of strange, but that's just how they did it. So it says A rubber bumper. And if you look, there's none on here, but up here it says item A is located on the knocker, the auto launch, the vertical up kicker, the laser kickback, and both kick bigs. So they're talking about this little rubber stopper on the end of the plungers. And again, it does say rubber parts, so it's not necessarily just rubber rings. If we go to B, it says flipper bushing small, and it says there's one. And then it says item B is located on the diverter plunger. Yeah, so I don't know about that yet. C, flipper rubber rings. There's 3 for C. Very easy to figure out. Now, a couple things I'll point out that are interesting. Originally, this came with black rubber rings. And in general, people don't use black that much anymore on machines. The issue with them is as the rings get older, they deteriorate. And on a black rubber ring, you can't really tell. They hide dirt really well. So you can't really tell that they're deteriorating. But what happens is you start getting black dust all over the playfield. So it just makes the playfields dirty as crap if you use black, and they don't bounce the same. They're a little bit stiffer than the white ones, just the way they're made. I don't know if they did that on purpose or not, but for whatever reason they're just a little stiffer. The game plays a little different. You could make the argument that the game plays exactly how they designed it because they designed it with black rubber rings. But with that said, it's pretty common for people to use white rubber rings, at least since the early 2000s, all of the Stern games, I believe, have shipped with white rings. So I like the white ones better. And I think it makes the games look a little brighter. This is a game, Frankenstein, it's a dark theme, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you want the whole playfield looking dark, you know. When the lights go out, they're all going to look dark anyway, so. So originally they had black rubber rings. I'm going to put red flipper rubbers and white rings. They've got white stand-ups all over the playfield, and they've got white flippers. The white rings will complement that very well, so I'm going to go with that. And then also, something I just thought I'd show you, on Sega's flippers, at least on this game, there is a little Sonic the Hedgehog on the flipper. That's very cool. And if you watch the back glass long enough, you know, it's just showing you art the whole time. It keeps showing you Sonic on the back glass. Well, every once in a while when they show him, he's a Frankenstein Sonic. So we'll see if it goes to him here in a second. Watch it be one of those things where it shows you the credits for 5 minutes and it just started. Sometimes on these, if you press the flipper buttons, it'll advance through it. I don't know if this one will. Technical support. I guess it's nice to have your name in a pinball machine. Extra special thanks to Doreen Clark. Thank you, Doreen. Let's see if it shows us Sonic. The BSMT 2000 sound system. That has a whole story behind it too. I don't completely know the story, but one guy developed that chip, that the BSMT chip, and the abbreviation stands for something crazy. I can't remember, but basically, lots of, there's Sonic. He looks normal though. Lots of the electronics use that chip in their sound section. Okay, so let me throw on a few rubber rings, and we'll see if it cleans it up a little bit. Okay, so I was able to put everyone on there that was actually listed in the manual. So apparently they all go down low because that's where the ball's going to be. I don't know what they do on the ramps. We haven't got to that part yet, but I think it looks good with white. Like I said, it matches the targets too, so no huge surprises. This thing was a little different. There's Frankie Sonic. This thing was a little different. They had it listed as it being like that post, but apparently at some point in the production they changed it out and started using that post. And everything went back. All the screws were there. All of the rubber rings mounted how they were supposed to. Now, we haven't put any of the stuff on yet that actually makes it, that's specific to Frankenstein. So the light shields, the ramps, the spinners, all that stuff. We've got an entire box of the stuff left. We've got, I don't know, 300 pictures left. And all of this stuff. I don't know if I showed that in this video, but all of this mounts on it. The guy took it all off. We haven't cleaned it yet, but we will be. I've got a bunch of stuff here too. I don't know if this came out of it. Let's see. Maybe it's labeled. There's something from PBR. Well, that's for 8-Ball Champ, so that's something else that I had, I guess. Here's something else. What in the world is that from? I don't know. A lot of times people bring us games that they haven't worked on a long time, and they've got a kit with them, but the kit has deteriorated just sitting around, so I don't ever use it. Like, you know, these rings are all yellowed now. I'd hate to use them. So I don't know if that's a kit or not, but there's 2 copies of the manual. Of course, the lockdown bar. But you've got this one large ramp. It's actually in pretty good shape. It's not cracked up or anything. And then you've got this thing here that's a little ramp type piece, like a diverter on the back, that leads to these 2 wire forms. So we need to clean all of this. And then in the middle of the game, there is actually a Frankenstein robot, we'll call it, that moves and things in the game. So that should be awesome. Remember, this is well after the mold was broke by Rudy on Funhouse. So they had already figured out how to make a cool talking, moving toy. So hopefully that'll be fun. I don't know if it'll be as nice as cool as the one in Funhouse, but it'll at least probably move around a little bit and stuff. So we got to put all that back together. I was thinking that if that was missing whenever we first started looking at it, that I would be in trouble. But the truth is, those are all over eBay. I don't know why. There's like three or four of them on eBay right now. Maybe there were some extra new old stock parts. Maybe they didn't make as many of this game as they thought they were going to, so there's extra pieces or something floating around. And then we've got all the plastic shields down here, and I didn't see any of those that were cracked. They're just all dirty and a big mess. So on the next video, we will go through all this stuff and start putting it on. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed filming it. If you didn't see the first two videos, there's the back glass. It seems like we've got everything, but we'll find out. If you didn't see the first two videos, go back and check those out. Now, if you like this era of machine, this is the type you like. We usually do a lot of electromechanical ones and the early solid state stuff. But if you like this era of machine, we have done a few of them. So I'll put one of those videos up here for you to check out if you'd like to see us work on something a little newer, one of these 90s games. So I hope you enjoyed the video. We will see you on the next one.